Episode number next. I'm Matt.
I'm Amy.
Welcome to the show. Tonight we're going to talk about 5 reasons your products aren't selling. We'll get to that in a minute. First, we have a community spotlight. Sawdust spotlight. I forgot what I was saying there for a minute. So if you don't know, we have a Facebook community, facebook.com/groups/731 Woodworks. And each week we pick one person to be on the Sawdust spotlight. And this week, check this out. This is Mr. Robert Lowry. He started out with this, it's his miter stand. He went from that to that. Check that out. Golly, that's an awesome job, Mr. Robert. Look at that. That took a lot of time, a lot of planning, and a lot of work. And he did a fantastic job on that. I mean, that's something he'll be able to use for years and years and years to come.
Great job.
Good job. That was awesome.
If you haven't already, go ahead and drop your state in the comments so that we can give you a shout out later. Drop it low.
You don't get us copyrighted, keep on.
That's from Rio.
So, 5 reasons your woodworking projects aren't selling. Now, a lot of times we get into we start trying to sell woodworking projects, and you kind of you hit a wall. You know, sometimes you start out good, and sometimes you don't start out good. But either way, you'll always run into a situation at some point where your product isn't selling. And here's 5 reasons why that may be the case. Number 1, you don't know who your customer is. If I walk into Bass Pro Shops and looking for hunting or fishing gear, and they're trying to sell me a prom dress, I mean, that's just, you can't do that. You know, you have to know who your customer is. For instance, 731 Woodworks, we know that our customer on our online store, we're selling woodworking plans. And so if I'm trying to offer you a fruit basket, you're going to be like, what is this guy trying? Why is that there? So you have to know who you're selling to. So in your area, if modern furniture is selling, and then you need to be making modern furniture. Sometimes we have to build things that we don't necessarily want to build. We more or less build to the customer's needs. And if you're serving your customers or serving the people looking at your stuff, then your business will be more successful. Same thing if you're trying to sell a lot of large outdoor projects or furniture in highly populated areas where people have small yards or maybe not even a yard, apartments, things like that, then those type projects aren't going to sell well either. So you just kind of know your market, basically, is what I'm getting at. Also, number 2, product photography or videography is huge. Like that probably should have been number 1.
Absolutely.
If you take terrible pictures or just plain vanilla pictures and they don't see the product, they're not going to buy it, especially with today's online world with social media, all this stuff. That's the first thing they see. And that's absolutely. They're going to see that product.
We're visual people.
Yeah. And if it's not, I say get a video of it and put it on there if you can. But if nothing else, make good pictures. And you can do that with your cell phone, your modern cell phone. Just have good lighting. You can use, if you just go to YouTube and search product photography tips, and you'll find thousands of videos with really good tips and tricks on how to do that, how to get your lighting correctly so it's not too harsh, it's not too dim, how to give it a good depth of field, background. Like all of that stuff matters a ton because when somebody sees something online, like if I'm going to buy something, I do a lot of research before I buy big purchases or even some smaller purchases. I want to see it. And that's why we got product video reviews and things like that. People want to see the thing working or see how it's being used before they're going to buy it. So make sure you got good pictures, good staging. We got a couple of staging videos that you can check out too. But those kind of things really do matter a lot.
I think it's also, something you said on the video part of it. I think we're moving into an age where video is starting to play a really important role in that because there are more and more companies now who are offering those little small snippets of video for people to see that. So when I buy products now, I'm looking for those small videos. Amazon now has where you can see a video of a product that you're looking at. Etsy has small videos now in some of their product pages where you can see a small video of what you're looking at. A lot of online retailers are now offering that. So if there is a way that you can offer your customer a small video of a product, do that. If you have the capability of doing that, but make sure it's a good video. Make sure it's representing your product in the best possible light possible. The best light possible. Make it look really good, because if you can do that and you can do some kind of wraparound video of that product, that is one of the best things that you can do for a visual customer, because if I can see a video of that product, that's going to make me want that product even more.
Well, Etsy come out with not too long ago. They come out with that. I was in the beta program of it, where you could show a 15-second video with no sound, and it had to be under a certain size, but it had to be 15 seconds, and that is just for that specific purpose. Now I think everybody has that on their Etsy, so you can actually take a picture of your cutting board, and you can actually just take a series of pictures and put it like iMovie or any free editing, DaVinci Resolve, any video editing software, and put those pictures on a timeline and just play them so that those pictures rotate. Well, that's a video if you don't feel comfortable making a video. So
that video can really,
it'd be a game changer for you.
Absolutely.
Let's see. That's what I was getting at. So on Instagram is kind of famous for their ads, because you're scrolling through and like you may not even realize you're looking at an ad sometimes. If you pay attention, it'll say shop now or sponsored or something like that. But those Instagram ads, just start paying attention to the ones that catch your attention, and you actually study this stuff if you want to make more sales. When you see something that catches your attention, ask yourself, why did that catch my attention? What's holding my attention? Same thing with making videos on YouTube. So I look at other creators in all different types of spaces, not just woodworking, but all different types of spaces. And if I watch something all the way through without skipping forward and skipping ahead or around, I have to ask myself what held my attention and what made me look at that. It could have been the topic of interest, but more than likely it was the creator is basically making me pay attention more than others are. So just pay attention to that kind of stuff. Number 3 reason your products may not be selling is your customers, they don't have a reason to buy. So again, outdoor furniture. Right? You're going to have a very hard time selling outdoor furniture in colder states or in colder parts of the world, I guess, during the middle of winter. It's just going to be hard. Also, planters and things like that sell really well in the spring and summer may not do well in the fall or in the winter. So kind of know the seasons and what's going on, what's selling, and you can kind of adjust to that to help yourself out. So number 4, your number 4 reason your products aren't selling is your customer hasn't seen your products or don't even know they exist. So how are they going to buy them if they're not seeing them? A lot of times there was an old rule back in way back in the day on selling. It was called the rule of 7. You ever heard that? Rule of 7. Your marketing classes, you never heard of rule of 7?
No.
Supposedly back in the day, they said that before somebody made the buying decision, they had to see your product 7 times, at least 7 times before they understood that, recognized it. Basically, you created a marketing relationship with them. And I think that's gone because of social media now. You look at something on Instagram, I don't know how many people's bought something off of just Instagram ad or a Facebook ad. I know I have. You're scrolling through, and what's funny is she can be looking at something on Facebook, and then I get the ad on Facebook for the jewelry she's looking at. I mean, they know we're married. They kind of tie the thing in. But they, that's a powerful thing. And there's a lot of times I've purchased things from an ad when I know it's an ad. It says shop now. But it's interesting enough that it caught my attention to make me stop scrolling. And then it also made me buy it. So once you catch their attention, you keep their attention, and then you can sell them something. So if you're cutting boards or whatever you're making. And so when you're creating your posts or your reels or your videos, even if you're not making an ad, but you're making content and you're wanting to get into business of selling stuff, think about that stuff as you're creating your content, that you're driving more views, you're driving more interest, and then that way your products may generate more sales. So if you do that, number 5 is going to be talking about a website. And so if you're doing that on Instagram and Facebook, make sure you have a website that these people can go to, because you never know. You never know. Number 4 goes back to the video and photography photography also. So be sure and check that out. The number 5 reason is no one's visiting your website, or even worse, you don't have a website. Now, a lot of I've got plans to do a video on how to set up a website. The number one thing is they're easy to do. They really are. It doesn't take a lot of time to get one set up to begin with, but Squarespace, Wix, there's tons of places that you can actually set up a website that's fairly inexpensive. I think ours costs like you remember what ours cost? $30 a month or something like that. It's not an insane amount of money. Even when I started, it was $16 a month before I had a commerce store on there. I think with the commerce on Squarespace is like $24 a month or something. I mean, they're not expensive at all. Wix is very similar. So get yourself a website, get yourself set up. And if you're selling product or you're trying to make sales, don't just set up a website that just says, here's what I make, and then have a bunch of pictures on there. There's no way, and they're gonna bounce. There's gonna be a high bounce rate on your website and the reason I know that is that's how mine was originally set up. And most people stayed on my website about 6 seconds. That's long enough to look at it and gone. And now we have a much higher retention rate because it's purposely set up to have, when they come there, they're coming there for a specific purpose. And you have to figure out what their purpose is for being on your website. So when they come to your website, there needs to be a couple of call to actions as soon as they're there. For one, if you're selling cutting boards, they need to be able to buy one, or at least submit an order for one or something similar to that. If you read Marketing Made Simple, one of the greatest books about setting up websites and marketing yourself and your products and things like that, Donald Miller is the name of the author. Go check that out. That's just a really good book to listen to. But they have a whole section in there, or a couple of chapters about setting up a website. And they say whenever someone lands on your page, if you're in business to sell things, whenever they land on your page, there needs to be a buy now button right up front. And then there also needs to be one in the top right. So you need 2 call to actions on your homepage of your website. It doesn't need to say, my grandpa was a woodworker and woodworked for 75 years, and I took on the tradition. When people come to your website, they're honestly not interested most of the time in how you got started and what your passion is and all this stuff. They want to purchase a product. And any barrier you put in between them buying that product and selling them the product is really going to hinder them. And so people's attention spans like this long. So they're going to be gone as soon as they get there. So at least drive them into your store from your homepage. Or if you have a Shopify store, you can actually they can land on your store, and you can do it that way where they can actually shop for your products. That's kind of what I would recommend.
Thank you, Man Caver Tools.
Super check.
I need to finish. Steph just sent me a picture of her baby.
Did she?
I got a little bit distracted there.
On the websites, just make sure they're set up. If you're in the business to sell things, now if you're just making woodworking products and you want to show off your stuff, and you can have a portfolio based website where they're just pictures of your stuff. But if you're selling something, furniture, cutting boards, there needs to be a way for them to buy the product, or at least submit an order or get in contact with you, even if it's a contact me. Make sure there's call to actions on that homepage.
I wasn't listening to anything.
Nothing?
No.
Well, that's rude. It's very rude, actually.
Oh, goodness.
Chris Helm says, what was your main inspiration to get on woodworking? Whose videos did you watch for inspiration instructions? My main driver to get into woodworking originally, 5.5 years ago now, was money. I was broke and I wanted to make some extra side money. And so I wanted to side hustle, and woodworking was an easy way for me to do that because I could do it when they were at school and work, because I worked swing shifts. Jay Bates was the one I started watching. I watched DIY Pete as well. There were several others, I'm sure, Wood Whisperer and Steve Ramsey and James King, all those. But I started with Jay Bates, Free Chair Plans.
When we say that we were broke, it's such an understatement to say we were broke. It is like, you have people that live paycheck to paycheck. We were not making it paycheck to paycheck. We were calling his dad to borrow money to make our mortgage payment.
Hey, one time, y'all, I'm telling you, we was 4 months behind on a rent or mortgage.
Not rent.
It was bad.
It was rough.
It was about to be in the street.
Yeah, it was rough. We were barely making it. when my dad was still alive, we were he had got cancer, and
Mhm.
so it got really bad. We had to take him in, and so we were making his mortgage payment plus ours because it was really hard to sell his house, and so we were having to pay an extra insurance policy to pay to keep up on an empty house. You had to pay extra insurance for that, and then he had a ton of medical bills. He had no money saved up, nothing, and so
Thanks, Steve.
everything got really bad. We got really behind on everything, and it just started compounding worse and worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he didn't have any type of savings, and then when he died, he only had enough life insurance to take care of his funeral expenses, and so it was really bad. And had his dad not taking care of us to give us enough to get through, we would not have been able to keep our house. And so, we thankfully sold my car so that we would only have one vehicle. But that was why he initially started woodworking as a side hustle, because we did not have any money to do anything.
Yep.
So, when you have absolutely nothing, I mean, it was bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's silly. I remember going to the movies, y'all. All right. And, popcorn drinks expensive. So we go to the movies, and I feel bad because we can't, we splurge in taking the kids to the movies, you know what I mean? It was 5 tickets, me, wife, 3 kids, and we can't get no snacks. I feel bad because the kids can't get snacks, it was a stretch to go to the movies. Like, it's just, I know there's a lot of people out there much worse than we were, but, and I don't know. But I tell the story all the time. When we moved in our first house in Warren, which is a little while was over, we went to Fred's and bought a $100.
It was $99.99,
and that was man, I'm telling you,
for a kitchen table and 4 chairs. Because the youngest one was still in a high chair.
Chunk of money. I was making $18,000 a year working at the fire department then, and it was just we were scraping by.
Our youngest son was still in a high chair at that time, so we bought this kitchen table that was. It was $99.99 for this table and 4 chairs, which was enough for us at the time because the youngest been in a high chair, and we were so proud of that table. Man,
I still have fond memories of that table. That was our first table together, so it was awesome.
And that was our first table that we bought together as a family and sat at, and we were so proud of that table, and I'll never not be proud of that table.
It was awesome.
And I remember putting it together. It came in a box. And
it was in a flat box about this big.
Yeah, all 4 chairs and the table all come together in this box, and it was amazing.
It was.
You get through with what you have, and those of you that are side hustling right now, I know a lot of you ask all the time, how do you find time to do this with little kids? And a lot of you are struggling right now to find that time to do it, and you may not have a whole lot of time to do it right now. And a lot of you feel bad because you don't have a whole lot of time to do it. And a lot of you are still struggling. You're still in that struggle right now. And we don't have the answer to that.
No, it gets easier as your kids get older, though.
It does, but right now there is no magic answer to that. The only answer I can say is that, you just keep pushing through, because one of these days, hopefully, Lord willing, you're going to push through just enough that you're finally going to push through and make it out to the other side. And that's what we hope for all of you. We're still pushing, and there are still times that's really hard, but sometimes it feels like we're not pushing as hard. But there's a picture, and it's of a man who's leaning over a cliff trying to help a woman up, and he can't see what she's going through on the other side of the cliff, and she can't see what he's going through on top of the cliff. And he's got I don't know if y'all have ever seen it, but he's got a big rock that's on top of his back, and he's in pain because, the rock is on top of him, and but he won't let go of trying to help pull her up, but she can't see what he's going through. And there's a snake that's trying to get her as she's, trying to reach for him, but he can't see that the snake is after her, but she won't quit reaching up for him, but he can't see the snake. And so it's like, there's always going to be struggles for everybody, and we can't see each other's struggles, but don't stop pushing through.
That's right.
That's the point of it.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's got their own struggles, and I know a lot of you share some of those with us sometimes. But anyway, that's a tangent. But
Frago Woodwork says, folks in my area have the same ideas and smalls for sale, but they massively underbid everyone. To y'all, it's worth making mine unique and moving on to the next project. That's right. So if a lot of people, so I had that too when I was started out. There was a guy here that was making subpar stuff, and I could tell that it was subpar just by the pictures, and he was way underselling. But I just stuck to my prices, and we weren't like overpriced anything either. I was way underpricing my stuff too, but I was learning. But mine was more than his, and I just stuck to mine because I knew quality would outlast it, and it did. It worked out.
Michelle Cochelle, we did the same thing. We would sneak some stuff in for our kids too. We would pack some stuff in.
She used to carry big purses for a reason.
Yeah, you kind of do what you
Stop
have
at the
to.
gas station, get them 99-cent candy and all that stuff. Yeah, they didn't go without, but
that's the thing. Our kids never had to go without. We did, and I tell you, one of the hardest things that I ever went through when we had those rough times. We went to this one doctor one time, and then I'll stop. Going off on tangents. We went to this one doctor one time when our kids were little. One of our kids needed a surgery. I think it was the tonsils and adenoids.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to this doctor, and I was pregnant with our youngest son, and we had to go to this doctor, and we didn't have very much money at all. And we had, I don't know if we had Medicaid or if we didn't qualify
our
for
kids, wouldn't
it. Yeah, I think we had our kids because we didn't qualify for
basically
Medicaid.
a state-run.
Yeah, and we went to this doctor, and he was extremely rude. And he said, when we went in there, we had our kids, so we were covered. And he looked at our file, and he looked at us, and he said, y'all are already on a state-issued medical insurance, and you're pregnant with another child. Don't you think you shouldn't have, he said something like, don't you think you shouldn't have brought another kid in the world if you already can't afford this one, or something like that. And it was like one of the rudest things that I think I'd ever been told in my life. And I went home crying so bad that day. But you know what? I'd love to see that doctor right now and let them see what we're doing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it don't work that way.
No.
So
and I'll tell you,
it's okay.
So one of the, I guess.
Steph just shared that. Can you put this on there? She had that.
Send it to. One of the.
Thank you, Stephanie.
One of the. I don't know. As a man, as a breadwinner, as the provider, as they say, I had an extremely hard time with that when we were struggling so bad, and then it got to the point to where everything had compounded, like we was talking about earlier with her dad's stuff going on. We had to take him in. We took his house payment on, and then everything just started compounding, and medical bills started piling up. We had some medical issues going on at that time. Mm-hmm. And then, so we started talking about bankruptcy, and I was vehemently against it. Mm-hmm. And, we had arguments about it. And when we got 4 months behind on the house, and I had a call on my dad, and I was like, hey, and he's like, why didn't you tell me before this? And I had done waited a long time. And so I had put it off as long as I could. Anyway, we wound up filing.
His dad had not even one hesitation about giving us the money to pay.
He's awesome. And so we, as a guy, as the provider, I'm like, man, like I'm failing here. So I just felt like a failure. But we filed bankruptcy, and I'm not telling anybody else to do this, but it was one of the best things we ever done for ourselves, because we didn't wipe it out either. We did where we had to pay it all back or whatever in 5 years. Was it 5 years? We
paid every penny back.
So we were making payments, but it condensed it down to where it was manageable enough for us to take on that much.
And then
we got rid of every credit card, and to this day, I think we got a business card now. We don't have credit card. We just, because we can't be trusted with them. We know that, because if we got
one, we don't even have a business card.
Yeah, it's a bank card.
Yeah.
It's a bank card.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. I don't know. Anyway, so we know we can't be trusted with them because we're like, hey. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the greatest things and that was when we finally broke out of that. It took through that 5-year program.
And that was like 15 years ago.
It took several years for it to all start clicking to where we weren't just waiting on the paycheck to go buy groceries. It was just, so anyway, I don't know why I went off on that, but somebody needed to hear it, I'm sure.
Share that. Yeah, that was, That was really hard.
Rick, no, we didn't lose our house. We there's
His
a thing called
dad.
we reaffirmed things, and in the bankruptcy, you basically make payments on it.
You
and
can't.
So our house stayed outside of the bankruptcy.
It was really important to us to pay absolutely everything.
We kept the house outside of it, though.
You gotta show that picture.
Working on it. All right, here you go.
That picture is so cool to me.
That's that picture she was talking about earlier.
That picture is so cool to me. It, for some reason, the first time I saw that picture, it really, I don't know, it struck me because it just made me think of what we all kind of go through. Everybody is so quick to judge everybody else. And
we're all guilty of it at some point.
Yeah, without thinking about the struggles that everybody else is going through. And so when I saw that, I was like, wow, we don't ever know what each other is going through. We're always so quick to kind of push each other over the cliff instead of helping, because I don't know, it really struck me when I saw that. And so
Carlos Creation says, I struggle pricing my work every day. It's been so hard. That's one of the hardest things for a woodworker, especially when you first start out, or even if you've been doing it for a little bit. It's very hard to know what the worth of the product is and what it will sell for. It may be worth $10,000, but it may not sell for that. So it's just one of those, it's more trial and error than anything else. There's no magic formula that anybody's going to be able to give you for your specific area, for your product. It's just a trial and error. I would recommend pricing it at what you think is fair. When it sells, if it sells quickly, add $10 to it, or 20 or 30 or 40, and see if that sells. And as long as it's selling, then you're creating a valuable product for somebody. When it stops selling and you're going several days, weeks without selling something, start dropping the price a little bit.
Thank you, Wes Willard Furniture. He said, just saying thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, thank y'all. Thank y'all for letting us share our story with you too. It's it took us years to actually talk about it, and so
I was ashamed for a long time. Matter of fact, before we filed bankruptcy, this has been a long time ago now. I went to my boss. I was a state trooper then. I went to my boss and I said, "Hey, I had to talk to you." And we got in a room together, and I was like, this is what I'm fixing to have to do. And I thought in my mind that by doing that, it would stop me from getting promotions, or they would look negatively on me. I was just being honest with them. I didn't even have to tell them, I don't guess. But I just wanted to get it out there. He's like, don't worry about it. So I didn't have made it a huge deal in my own mind. Gordon Madden says, what's your biggest struggle when starting your business? Getting customers and then pricing, like we talked about before. Now, once you can figure out where your customers are and how to put your product in front of them, then you figure out how to price the product appropriately. Those two things, when you get those two things clicking, you'll start making money. And that's kind of how we did it on Etsy. Once I figured out how to work Etsy so that people actually see your listings, because Etsy's, there's hundreds of thousands of people vying for the same set of eyes, right? So you have to figure out SEO, or search engine optimization. Basically, I watched hours and hours and hours upon hours of video on how to set up an Etsy store and how to get your listings to rank in search. And then I just kept watching and kept tweaking the store. Well, finally it clicked and we started getting sales. And some of that was because we were buying ads, but ads work on Etsy. So, and we was able to generate over $20,000 in a year just side hustling on Etsy and not counting the local sales. So if you put the time and effort into it, it can be worth it.
Yeah.
Jeff Chevalier says, have you decided to go back to an hour format yet? No, we haven't. And personally, I like the 30-minute. It's a selfish thing. It's a 30. It winds up being about 40, 45 minutes usually. Yeah. So.
I don't know. I miss the hour because I do enjoy having the hour with you guys. But I know when school starts back, it's going to be.
It's even harder. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Justin Eldridge says, the mistakes we make and the trials and tribulations we go through remind us of the people we are. There is no shame in making mistakes. We all make and learn from them.
Unknown Facebook user says, would you recommend a website over Etsy or Facebook Marketplace? I'm struggling with this decision. I would actually recommend both. Because, well, for one, if you have to have a way to drive people to your website, because it is extremely hard to rank on Google's first page. And if you're not on the first or second page, mostly the first, you're not going to be
hard.
seen.
Yeah.
So even our stuff on a lot, like you have to search a specific thing to find our stuff on the first page. I've not bought any ads or anything like that for Google. But if you have a website that you can drive traffic to, so a social media following, then it works well. But if you don't, then your other options are going to be Etsy, which is where the people are, or Facebook Marketplace.
Robert Hale says, what are your thoughts on using a sales funnel site ad?
They work well. I don't have any. We have a mailing list that we send out 2 or 3 emails a week. Usually it's for content.
Do you know what time it is?
Power tip time.
Go ahead and finish your thing.
Usually it's for generating or showing or letting people know that we have new content out or we have a new sale going on, which I guess is a sales thing. But for the most part, it's all about content, or sometimes I just send out an email and says just a motivational, hey, you're doing all right. It's going to be okay type thing. But for the most part, sales funnels work if you can do them correctly and you can actually generate people to sign up for your list.
All right, go ahead and then.
So, hold on. Trying to hide this thing.
Hide what thing?
Just before the show, I saw this on Toby Mac. He's a Christian singer, if you don't know, on his Facebook page. And it says, David's brothers, this is the power tip. David's brothers saw a shepherd. God saw a king. Let God define you and not others.
Oh, I like that.
Toby Mac. I like it, dude.
Yeah, I love Toby Mac.
So don't let anybody else define who you are. You're always going to have people that talk down to you or think negative of you, especially if you're on social media. If you're on there long enough and get more than about 10 people following you, somebody's got something negative to say about something all the time.
Always.
Those people don't define you, or they're not on your mission. So don't let them derail you.
Yep. I like that. Okay. So somebody on Facebook, let me find it again. Daryl Williams said that he watched the video. Hold on, it went away. He watched the video and did not about the giveaway and never saw any code words.
They're in there, man.
So you missed them, Daryl.
So the 2 code words you're looking for the Wahuda Jointer giveaway are Tubatins. Tubatins, Tubatens.
He just gave it away.
Well, he's watched it a bunch, so. And then also push blocks, all one word. Those 2 keywords to get you some extra.
Next week's the giveaway, right?
Next week's giveaway. Yep. We're going to give away a Wahuda Jointer. Channel members are going to have a chance to win a skilled table saw. I'm going to be announcing that soon. The video on that one will come out Sunday on the table saw. So that'd be cool. There was a question I was fixing to answer. Oh, what was the hardest thing you ever made? Weekend
Miss
adventures.
Joanne's on here from Destin.
Hey.
Hey, Miss Joanne. She said they miss us in Destin.
We miss Destin.
We do miss Destin.
Weekend Adventure says, what was the hardest thing you ever made? Hardest thing I ever built was probably
the laundry basket.
The laundry basket holder, because it gave me, it had 3 fold-out doors. That thing drove me insane. It was one of my early builds. It's not a video on it. But man, that thing was tough. And then the second hardest thing I've ever done wood-wise was putting down this floor.
Oh.
It was a pain.
We'll never do flooring again.
That sucked.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious. It was bad.
Michelle Booth says she wants to win.
I want you to win. I want everybody to win.
Tom McLaughlin wants to know where we get our shirts from. We get them from a few different places. The one I'm wearing actually comes from a little boutique here in Monticello. It's the Marketplace. He gets a lot of his. This one came from Caruso. Yep.
KERUSSO.com or Mardell.com. Yep.
And then we get some of them from Mardell's. Is it just Mardell though? MAR. Oh, sorry. Unless I was reading.
And we have a few on our website that we that are our own creations.
Frago Woodworks says, how do you join this YouTube community to get access to the table saw giveaway?
So on the YouTube channel, if you're watching on a desktop or a PC, there's a join button. If not, in the description of this video is a link that says, it tells you about the channel membership. And then when you click that, there'll be a video that pops up and lets you watch and see what all perks you get. We do member-only live streams. Now giveaways, there's behind the scenes content that we put out. I try to do one a week, and sometimes I just don't have the bandwidth to do so. And so I do try to get about one of those a week out. Member only live streams and behind the scenes giveaways or something else. Perk to get some discounts to the store and things like that.
Michelle Cochelle is speaking my language. She
Was it
said
Salada?
that Salada is missing me, and they have one in Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta. We'll be flying through Atlanta soon.
I know. He's taking me on
an adventure.
An adventure for our anniversary.
Adventure.
We have an anniversary coming up. Do y'all know the date?
Yep, we do. We sure do. And it happens to be on a video release day. So.
We have an anniversary coming up, y'all. 22 years. It's a coming. Well, let me do states really quick. Really quick. We have a lot of them. We have Australia, Florida, I can't even say it. I said Florida. Florida, Oklahoma, Ohio, Maryland, Arkansas, Illinois, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Vermont, New York, California, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Missouri, Minnesota, Michigan, Texas, Mexico, the Netherlands, Connecticut, Wisconsin, Maine, Georgia, Canada, Alabama, Rhode Island, Michigan, Kansas, West Virginia, Kentucky, Idaho, Arizona, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and I'm sure I missed some.
Yeah, I agree. I bet you did.
I'm
so
sure I did.
If Canada
Texas.
has A,
July 31st, y'all are right.
What others? I mean, there's got to be something else. Like Canada has A. Can Arkansas have something? Texas
or Kansas. That's what a lot of people say when
we should have one of those A's.
We need something. Arkansas needs something.
We got rednecks. That's all we need.
No, is there nobody from Mississippi on here? Come on.
Mississippi.
I need some Mississippi people on here. Nobody? Mississippi? Nobody? Come on.
Mackenzie, Harley, do you guys use A? I've asked Harley before.
Mm-hmm. Mackenzie tells me all the time Canada A when she drops her state. So I said Alabama. But I didn't say Auburn.
Did you say Greenbow, Alabama?
Greenbow, Alabama. I said Texas, but I didn't say howdy.
Howdy. That's
Delaware.
a good one for Texas.
Delaware.
You got to start doing howdy for Texas for now.
Howdy.
Howdy.
What's Mo sending me? Oh, Lord. We got y'all. That's what they said. We got y'all.
Texas has y'all too, though. So we can't claim that one altogether.
Mia's house in the 731 state. All right. Dan Dixon says, please pray for me. Tomorrow marks 1 year since I lost my dad. I'm already struggling.
Sorry,
we will pray for you, Mr. Dan Dixon. It is a very hard thing, that 1 year mark. I will tell you, I remember the 1 year anniversary of mine when I lost my dad. They say that it gets easier. It's been several years. I will tell you that it's different for every person. Some years it does feel easier. Some years I don't think about it the day of. Some years it feels like the day it happened. But it's hard, so we'll be praying for you for that. It's just, losing a parent, it's a hard thing. It's just hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard
Knight
thing.
says, what inspires your love for the craft? I thought about this today, this morning, when I was working out. What I enjoy about woodworking more than anything else is the challenge. To me, it's challenging. Because I don't build the same thing over and over and over and over. I can, I don't prefer to. I prefer to build new things because it's so challenging. It challenges my mind. It challenges my skill. It just puts me in an uncomfortable position, and that it makes me figure things out. And I enjoy that part of it. While it's happening, a lot of times I get frustrated, and I'm like, I enjoy that part. It's the same reason I like working out or running or anything else that's physically demanding, is because it's challenging. And woodworking, to me, is mentally challenging. That's why I like it. Yeah. There's one other question I really want to answer real quick. Tim Knight says, do you sell plans on Etsy or actual wood projects? I'm selling plans now. Before I went full-time content creation, when I was actually woodworking as a side hustle, all I sold on Etsy was wood products. And that's when I was talking about earlier, when I was making over $20,000 a year on, that was just, of course, that's not profit. That's just revenue off of Etsy. So that's what I was doing. I was making stove covers.
We love you too, Miss Joanne.
Yep.
We miss you, Miss Joanne. We're ready to come back and see you.
Yep.
We want to have lunch with you or something next year. I'm ready to come back and see you.
Thank you, Richard. So he's a new subscriber.
Yay. The Furniture Artist of South Carolina. I guess that's
Super
South Carolina.
Thanks, Scruffy.
SC. Says happy anniversary, prayers for 50 more at least. We hope
Amen.
so. That'd be awesome.
Amen. That would be awesome.
Could you handle 50 more years with me?
Lord, well, you dang right.
You think you could?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what we sound like tonight because I don't have my things in.
No, we sound like rednecks.
That's awful.
That's what we are. And I'm okay with it. Well, here you go, Hayden. He wants a shout out. He said, he watches my channel all the time. There you go.
Hayden?
Hayden 78.
Aw. Hayden 78. Awesome.
Well, I hope you got value out of this and listen to us rant. It kind of took a turn, which most time I do. I didn't expect to go down the finance type stuff, but it's all good. And
We always go off on tangents.
we do.
so-
We do. But we appreciate you guys showing up
Yep. we
every
do.
Tuesday because we look forward to it and we thank you. And we hope you're getting value out of it. If you have any content ideas or live stream ideas you'd like to see us discuss, you can always hit the contact form on the website, 731woodworks.com. Hit contact us and you'll be able to submit that.
All of you that's commented, that have lost your parents and stuff, thank y'all for praying for Mr. Dan Dixon.
Mhm.
All of y'all. Be thinking about him tomorrow. We'll say a special prayer for you.
Yep.
You know how hard it is. So
Mhm.
thank y'all so much for joining us tonight and staying extra time with us. Y'all said y'all like the 45-minute mark, and we are at
We're almost-
7:42.
If you haven't entered the Wahuda Joiner giveaway,
The
you
Miss
have
731
you have
giveaway.
1 week from today to enter that. You have to go watch the Wahuda
Mhm.
Joiner 2-year review that was on the channel about a week and a half ago.
A week and a half
a week
ago.
and a half ago. And there's a link in the description of that video, but you're going to need the 2 code words that I gave away earlier.
That's why they think we're rednecks.
They know.
A week and a
They
half
know
ago.
we are. So go watch that video and you'll be able to enter to win a Wahuda Joiner. That'd be awesome because they really are it'll change the way you woodwork once you have a jointer in the shop if you don't yet. What's up?
A week and a half ago.
Yeah, a week and a half ago.
50 more years. That's right.
Kevin Jones, what's your thoughts on making and selling some birdhouses? Is it profitable? I guess
Not
it
in
probably
our
depends on
area.
the area. In our
Yep.
area, no. I tried making some
Yep.
and couldn't give them suckers away. But,
Yep.
I
I think on
she was
somewhere like
painting them and
Etsy.
doing all kinds of stuff to them. I think, I haven't looked at birdhouses on Etsy, but I would assume that it's probably a pretty competitive space
I would
so
look
you'd
on
have to be
Etsy
unique.
and see.
and set yourself apart somehow.
Yeah, I would look on Etsy and just see if you could figure out some kind of really cool way to make yours different.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it has to be
then
different.
and then you would just have to kind of get a feel for it on Etsy.
Now,
and
your area, people may be just
Yeah.
waiting to buy those things. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's one of those,
check it out in your area.
build a couple and
Mhm.
see what happens. If you enjoy making them, then that's
Mhm.
really all that matters. And then if you
Yeah.
can sell some and, continue your hobby or your side hustle, then do that.
Yep.
But I'd probably make a couple different ones.
I
maybe.
wouldn't go all in and just make a huge inventory of them without figuring out.
So
if,
in
you
our
can
area,
sell 'em.
martins are a big thing. A lot of people love their martin birds, and they build martin birdhouses, or they buy them or build them. I made my dad one several years ago now, I guess.
Mhm.
So if you could build there's a specific bird coming to your area that people really love, then I would focus on that one. That's what I
Mhm.
would do.
all right,
Is it?
that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
We'll see you, Lord willing, next week.
That's right. You could help the channel out if you go watch another one of my videos right after this one.
Yep. Y'all have a good week.
Y'all have a good night.